Okay, I want you to picture this. It's 1834. You're on a quiet farmhouse in Rhode Island. The day's work is finally done, the kids are asleep. And there, in the flickering candlelight, is a single letter on the table. A letter that's about to change everything for your family, forever. It's an incredible story of faith, fear, and one huge choice. So let's dive in and see how it all went down. And this quote, which comes from a family story passed down through the years, it just perfectly nails the heart of what we're talking about. This wasn't just some historical event. It became a family legend, a story of courage that would be told for generations. So let's see exactly how that legend began. All right, so it all starts with this life-changing letter. It shows up from a place called East Killingley, Connecticut, and on the surface, it's a job offer. But for the Oatley family, it felt like so much more. It felt like a divine call, one that carried this immense weight and was going to force them to ask some really tough questions. At the heart of this whole thing, you've really got three key players. First, there's Jonathan Oatley. He's a farmer, a father, a preacher, and he is completely torn between his duties right there at home and what he feels is a genuine call from God. Then you have his wife, Amy. She's the anchor of the family, trying to balance this deep faith with some serious practicality. And the thing that kicks it all off? That one letter asking Jonathan to become the full-time pastor for a new church. And we have to talk about the sheer scale of this decision. I mean, get this. They have 12 children. 12! They range in age from 19 years old all the way down to a 2-year-old. So this isn't just about moving house. It's a massive, logistical, human undertaking. Every hope, every fear, it's all multiplied by 12. And on top of all that, the clock is ticking. The letter shows up in late March, and the church needs an answer by the end of the month. If they say yes, they've got to sell their property, pack up their entire lives, and travel 50 miles to be in East Killingley by early May. That is just 6 weeks to completely uproot a family of 14. The pressure is just immense. But, this decision wasn't just about logistics and deadlines. The real challenge was this profound internal battle. It was a spiritual struggle, that classic conflict of faith versus fear, and it was playing out right inside Jonathan Oatley's head. And this right here, this gets to the absolute core of Jonathan's anxiety. It's not just about the move. It's about this deep-seated fear that he's just not good enough. He's worried he's not smart enough, not skilled enough. Some days he feels this divine call, but on other days he says he feels like a fool with delusions of importance. And here is where you really see the crucial dynamic between husband and wife. On one side, you've got Jonathan's paralyzing fear. What if I fail? But on the other side, you have Amy's steady, evidence-based faith. She doesn't just say, don't worry. No, she reminds him of specific times he's already done this, telling him, I've seen you comfort the grieving with biblical wisdom. She brings receipts. This all leads to Amy's most powerful argument, and it hinges on this core idea. She tells Jonathan, the Lord doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called. And that one sentence just completely reframes the entire struggle for him. It basically says that his feelings of being inadequate don't matter because the skills will be provided because he was called. It's a total game changer. Okay, so you'd think after that big spiritual breakthrough, they'd be all set, right? Well, not so fast, because Jonathan immediately pivots from the spiritual crisis to the overwhelming practical problems. It's one thing to have faith, but it's another thing entirely to actually move a family of 14 with next to nothing. And a list of worries is, well, it's staggering. Uprooting 12 kids, leaving the only home they've ever known, that difficult 50-mile journey, a salary that might not even be reliable, starting completely over with no farm, no trade to fall back on. And for Amy, leaving her entire family and her whole support system behind. The weight of it all must have felt absolutely crushing. But Amy, she meets every single one of these practical worries with this incredible way of reframing things. When Jonathan is upset about leaving their house, she just calmly says it's just wood and stone. She redefines their home not as a place, but as their family unit, no matter where they go. And when he worries about money, she doesn't pretend it's not a risk. Instead, she reminds him of his own strength, his own resilience. She counters his fear of being poor with faith in his ability to just work hard and provide. It's such a practical and honestly empowering argument. So, after all the back and forth, After weighing the spiritual fears against all these practical worries, the decision is still just hanging there. Jonathan is totally frozen. And that's when Amy realizes it all has to come down to a single, pivotal question, one that can cut through all the noise. And this is the question that changes absolutely everything. Amy flips the entire debate on its head. She shifts the focus away from the fear of what might happen if they go and points it directly at the certainty of regret if they don't. Which would be heavier to carry, the hardship of saying yes or the lifelong regret of saying no? And in that moment, everything just clicks into place. Jonathan's answer here reveals the true turning point. He realizes that the pain of wondering what if is so much greater than the pain of any struggle they might face. The decision is finally made, not because the path is easy, but because staying behind is now just unbearable. And that realization is really the final step in their journey. The decision was no longer just Jonathan's burden. This was the moment they became a true partnership of purpose, a team totally unified with a single massive goal. You know, their process really gives us this powerful blueprint for making those huge life decisions. First, they both got their fears out in the open, spiritual and practical. Second, they reframed the problem from avoiding hardship to avoiding regret. Third, they committed as a team, so it became our answer. And finally, they decided to act on that faith. And with this final declaration, wow, Amy just solidifies their pact. She makes it crystal clear that this is her calling too. She's not just being dragged along for the ride, she is an active, enthusiastic partner in this. Her commitment transforms the whole thing from his burden into their shared adventure. She's not just willing, she is ready. And so, the story of the Oatley family leaves us with this really compelling thought. It's a reminder that so many of life's biggest, most important choices aren't just about logic and calculated risks. They are leaps of faith, made possible not by being certain of the outcome, but by a shared commitment, and by having a partner who is ready to face the unknown right there with you.